All right. Okay, just to get a human face on it. Welcome everybody to the what is this, March acquisition meeting for Koha. And yeah, I hope everybody's doing well. And my thoughts for this meeting today, first of all, I guess I should ask if there's anything that anybody wants to talk about as far as problems that you've run into or cool ideas that you have or anything like that. If anybody has anything like that, that's priority number one, to address the real world stuff. But.
So I have something that's not necessarily Koha specific.
Okay.
But I would like to hear from you guys on how you're handling your orders with your year-end budgets, with vendors recommending that we order 6 months out, and with backlogs. What we did in the past was our standing orders we would continue to have on order throughout year round, but our regular monthly carts we would cut off in September and then order October, November, and December the first thing in October. But all of our vendors got incredibly backlogged, and the result was we weren't getting our items until way after the release dates. Mm-hmm. And so I'm having to make a case with my purchasing department to manage the situation with shipping holds with the vendors, but to have the orders continue to go out on an accelerated, longer time frame than what we used to before COVID and supply chain and hiring issues and all of this current mess has descended. So yeah. I would love to hear from anyone if they have thoughts about how they're doing it. If your budget year, we're on the type of budget where we have to use it or lose it, and it does not, the budget does not roll over from year to year. So if I have $450,000, I have to have that all spent by the end of September. So any thoughts, insights, strategies?
So Marci, just to confirm, we have a use it or lose it policy too on one of our budgets, but are you saying this is especially affecting you this year because of the backlog?
Yes. So we used to just place 3 months worth of orders on October 1st when our new budget year kicked off. And our vendors, we get full cataloging and processing from our vendors. So we experienced, maybe a 3 to 4 week turnaround time on that initial October release items, which was acceptable, but it just, this year we have had horrible backlogs that still my vendors haven't dug out of. And so what I'm wanting to do is continue to place orders for materials in October, November, December, January, further out, but have them hit next year's budget and manage the cutoff with shipping holds. But I have to get buy-in from my city purchasing, which their rules are, if you have it ordered, it has to be received by September 30th. So I'm looking for what are other libraries doing and how are they navigating that with their city finance and purchasing guidelines. And maybe it's not an issue for anyone else. And it may not be for me, but I'm expecting some pushback.
I'd say we have a somewhat lax purchasing department. So,
Where do you get those from? I want one of those.
well, I think it's over the past couple of years, they've been tightening things up. So I kind of expect, you know, some more strict rules perhaps coming, but we order it and you know, same as you, try to receive it, but I will have things still on order that don't come, and you know, we just, whenever it comes is when we pay for it.
Exactly.
But I traditionally have not wanted to have a ton of stuff
Right.
on orders simply because it's so hard to account for everything, and I want to spend every penny
Right.
in my current budget. And if I have tons of orders outstanding, it's really hard to know, you know, which year it's going to come in. And I'll do reports. We basically use Baker and Taylor.
Right.
I'll do reports and look at, you know, release dates, and I'll try to anticipate, well, this one's going to come this year and this one's going to come next year. But it's very difficult to do that and have a ton of stuff, you know, coming in some, you know, you've got hundreds of items coming in your current year, but you've also got hundreds in the next. So I've traditionally kind of cut it off.
Yeah.
Because, you know, so I don't have a real good answer or anything. We place shipping holds on things and then, you know, call them back and say, now start releasing anything you've got. I have noticed with Baker and Taylor in the last maybe month that we're actually getting things before their pub date now.
That's good, because we're making our standing orders to them.
That had not been happening, you know, at all.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of seeing things get back to normal a little bit. Not an answer, just commiseration.
Right, right.
So I'm just curious for the group then, at what point, Marci, it sounds like your fiscal year starts September 1st, is that right?
October 1st.
October 1st. So how far in advance does the group in general start placing shipping holds or start canceling items that haven't come in when the fiscal year is coming to an end? Is it 3 months standard, or what does everyone do?
We have a 4-month back order period. And we had increased that, I think, at the beginning of the pandemic, you know, thinking that we needed to pad it a little bit. And I've considered going to a 6-month, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, ours is around 3 months as well for ordering in advance. But we're gonna start. We use Ingram, and we're gonna start using their.
You're fading out, Rhonda.
Hang on. Let me try some. Is that any better? Okay. I have 2 sets of headphones, and one works with Zoom and one works with Teams, and I never know which one. So hopefully this is right. So totally forgot what I was saying.
Your back order life.
Oh yes. Yeah, the we use Ingram, so we're going to start using their standing orders. We have to use the reports only version of it because we do EDI ordering and all their special, what do they call it? Enhanced processing or whatever.
Yeah.
So we just do that. And so that sort of depends on when Ingram sticks things in those standing order baskets. Sometimes it can be 6 months. Other times it's 3.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about doing, and you can tell me if I'm crazy, and then we'll go from there. So as we get closer to the end of the year, I'm thinking of setting up next year's budget in advance. And then as we order things, we see that, oh, these are going to pub in, October, like keep the orders separated. So stuff that's going to pub this year, we'll have in one basket, and stuff that's going to pub next year, we'll put it in a different basket, and then actually assign it to next year's budget in that basket so that it keeps it, so that we can have an accurate reflection of what,
We do that with our standing orders.
Okay.
You will have to have unique fund codes. So I append the budget year to the end. So it's SO 22 or SO 23.
Okay.
If I'm able to do this with our regular monthly carts, I would have to do the same thing with all of the fund codes, which would mean my fund codes and my vendors would also have to allow me to toggle. And I really don't want to do that. It just seems like a lot of work and a lot of room for error.
Okay.
The other thing that I've done to kind of mitigate the late September, early October releases is that I order them unprocessed, or I order them partially processed so they don't have to go through the full cataloging saga. Which with Ingram, that was their big backlog this year, was with they couldn't hire catalogers. So it wasn't really supply chain. It was their workforce wasn't. They just couldn't keep enough in-house. So anywho, but yeah, it works, but you have to have unique fund codes, because just having the basket, even if the order goes out correctly and hits the right budget, the invoice may come in and hit the wrong. I found that the hard way.
I can see that happening because the invoice usually shows up before the items. There's that 3-day thing. So I guess
I did that. I did what you're talking about, Rhonda. I don't think it was last year, but the year before. And so I tried, having 2 budgets open. We're non-EDI.
Okay.
And I think my problem was maybe not having the unique fund codes, because we ordered and, we were going to pay for it in the year in which it came and all of that. But when my assistant was downloading the MARC files, she was getting them into the wrong budget. And so I had to go in and fix that. And then when I went to go close out the budget, I can't remember, but I was so worried I was going to mess something up. And I didn't have a ton of items. I had 100 and something, I think. But I can't remember what I did, but it was like, I'm just going to cancel these and recreate them. Or I can't remember. I was just so worried I was going to screw up the closing out of one budget and mess up the beginning of the other budget. But I think I may try it again with, unique things. And our experience would be different because we're non-EDI. But no, I don't think you're necessarily crazy in doing that.
Okay. Yeah.
The other thing for the budget rollover, you can't do a budget rollover, like let Koha roll those orders over for you, unless the fund codes are the same.
Mhm.
So what I did last year was I just manually changed the fund code on any of the items that were out, which because we only had standing orders and a few, things that got their dates pushed, it was a pretty finite group. But if I do what I think I need to do and order everything hitting next year's budget, that's going to be super labor intensive.
Mhm. So what we do is we have the same fund code, but a different description
Okay.
for the budgets. So our description will say, adult fiction 2022, adult fiction 2023, that kind of thing, but the fund code is still the same. So when Holly is looking at it,
Yeah.
she can pick the right one. But then when we get to the end of the year, when it rolls over, it still works to roll over because the codes are still the
The
same.
codes are the same. Does that work with EDI? Because EDI is just looking at the fund code, I think. It doesn't care about the description.
Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, see, now historically we've only had one active.
Yeah.
So that may be where the problem comes in.
Yeah, I had EDI hitting my inactive budget. The first year after we went to Koha, I had it hitting last year's budget that I had closed out and it was inactive.
Oh,
And the EDI, because the fund codes were the same, were hitting last year's budget. So I had to have Bywater fix it all on the back end. And so
No.
what I do now is after I start my new budget, October 1st, I roll everything over. Well, I don't usually roll everything over because I guess I could, but what I do is I go into last year's budget and append last year's year to the end of those codes. So nothing will hit it by mistake.
oh, okay.
So that might work if your fund codes with your vendor and in your new budget year are the same. And then when you close out your old budget, you append last year's numerical
Mhm.
date to the fund codes for last year's budget, then hopefully nothing that would prevent things hitting an inactive budget when you didn't want it to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Okay. Yeah, this is
Do we want to draw straws to see who's going to try it this year?
Yeah.
Tell the others if it's a big disaster.
Well, yeah, we can, I was planning on doing it anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm
we could-
definitely doing it with standing orders because I have been, but I'm thinking about doing it. I may create a unique fund for everything. Oh, that sounds terrible. Never mind.
But one thing I was going to add about, you were talking about, convincing your purchasing.
Yeah.
I think one of the things we sort of did say to our somewhat lax purchasing people is, look, the publishing industry is heavy, beginning October, fall book announcements, so you've got stuff coming out. And unless we order that ahead of time, we won't get it or we'll be very delayed in getting it. And so we have to order ahead of time and know that it's going to come later. And they've been like, oh, okay. So, but, there could be some people are like, well, it just doesn't matter. You've got to receive it and order and receive within a period. But
Mhm.
we kind of did make that case of like, there's a special circumstance or because of the way the publishing industry is, you have to understand that, our patrons would be very upset if we didn't get, so try and frame it
Mhm.
as customer service.
Yeah, that's definitely how we're going to approach it.
Yeah. Yeah, our purchasing basically you know, they don't care if we order it ahead. All they're concerned about is when it was received.
Right.
They just pay attention, you know, if it was received in this fiscal year, then this is the budget. If it was received next year, then that's the budget that it needs to go against. They're, you know, so yeah, I don't think they really care when we actually order it. Just as long as we're aware
Yeah.
that which budget it's going to hit.
Right.
We've also talked about things like publishers change dates,
Mhm.
and the fact that processing is built into, you know, getting it, that like we have no control over when certain things come.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so we have to continue ordering, but we can't guarantee you that this vendor out here is going to do it the way you want it to be.
Yeah.
And we're a little bit more like Rhonda too. I don't think they truly care about when it was ordered. It's just when it was received. Then if you received it, you have to pay for it in the year in which you received it.
Right.
I don't know if any of you use a credit card for your invoicing, but we do with our vendor. And what I found last year, it was the first year I closed a budget and started anew. But I was all excited because I was like, oh, I'm receiving everything before the end of our fiscal year. And I physically received it in Koha. And then all of a sudden I realized that, oh, the credit card, the invoices are coming on the credit card statement, which is after our fiscal year closes, like a month after. So I had to work with, it had to go in the new fiscal year, which was kind of a bummer. But so anyway, that's one thing I wanted to bring up that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, that can get you sometimes. Does anybody else have ideas, thoughts, things that you've done with closing out the end of the year, especially, you know, with like Marci said, our vendors encouraging us to order ahead. I just had a conversation with our Ingram rep last week, you know, strongly encouraging us to order well in advance because they just don't know, you know, they need to know how many books are coming or, you know, are going to be required or whatever it is. But
Not that this completely addresses it, but we've had times where orders we thought were going to come, and I'm checking the Baker and Taylor reports, and you know they're still in processing, or there's some other status, reserve or something like that, and I'm like, when are you going to release that? You know, I keep checking every day and it's not moving through your process. You know, we have, you know, I'll calculate, well, it looks like there's $1,000 here that's not going to come. We'll go and purchase something else that we can get. So we may go to Amazon and buy something. One year we were able to do playaways, I think, and they were able to, you know, ship and bill quickly. And so it wasn't our true intent, but it's like, you know, we never get an increase on our materials budget. So we want to spend all of it.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks for bringing that, Marci. That's obviously something we all kind of struggle with.
Yes. It's why whenever the Koha conference is in September, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Yes, I totally understand that. September is not my favorite month to be out of pocket for a week or whatever it is. Yes. Okay.
I have a quick question about large type books. And it sounds like some of you use one of the main three vendors, either Ingram, Baker and Taylor, or Brodart. We were ordering them like direct from Centerpoint and or Thorndike. in the
Mhm.
past, and this year we're using our main vendor, and I'm just finding that we're not getting them in a timely fashion. It could be months down the road, and I just want to know if any of you have experience with that.
We still get ours from Centerpoint. All
That
of
is,
our-
yeah, it's really common. We order most of ours from Ingram or Brodart, and it's really some of them come fine, but some of them don't. And that's really common. And even pre-pandemic, they didn't come as early as I would like, but I think it's just the nature of large type publishing.
Okay, yeah, because I'm thinking of going back to Centerpoint because again, these are, 3 and 4 months down the road of new releases, and I think they have to work directly with Centerpoint because they're the publisher, I believe, to get them in, and
Yeah.
it's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been happy with Centerpoint getting us stuff in a timely fashion, so. We just occasionally, if we just have Centerpoint do, just ship us whatever, kind of a standing order thing that they pick. And every once in a while, there'll be one that we'll get a purchase suggestion for or something like that. And we'll get that through Ingram. But usually that's not like the real new hot titles. So, okay. So are there any other questions that people have run into in the last month or so? Want to make sure we talk about all the real world stuff first. And then, okay. All right. So did you all watch the Monday minutes about acquisitions, additional fields and things like that?
I must have missed that.
Okay. Well, I was thinking we could go over some of the things that they covered in that Monday minutes, because Monday minutes is that long. And I find that I need to do things a couple of times or see it a couple of times before it really sticks and I understand what's happening. So if that is of interest to everybody, I thought we would just, I can share my screen and we can kind of walk through it. I pulled up the Bywater test site or whatever, that we can mess around with. Oh, I can't finally share screen. Okay, so I am going to share my screen. And does everybody see this over here? Okay. So I'm just gonna, I don't know that much about it. So if other people know more, just jump in and we'll muddle through this together. But this is the Bywater test site. If you go to bywatersolutions.com and then go to the support link across the top and then scroll down, you'll see as the OPAC and the staff client there. You can log in. For this, you just do Bywater to log into the staff client, but that it tells you all that stuff on the website. So you can go in here and play around if you don't want to risk messing up your own thing. And Barbara, how is the test system that koha-US is their demo site or whatever? Is that accessible?
That's up and running, and you can request a login, I guess, to get in. This, I was thinking, it would be a good exercise to use something like this for although you're doing EDI, you can't really test that on this kind of thing. But I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, I guess for me, I could set up 2 different budgets and test it in some other place. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, we do have the Koha demo site. And if you go to koha-US on the main page at the bottom, there should be a link to the OPAC. And then you would need to request a
So where is
staff.
it?
I think it's all the way down at the bottom in the footer.
Oh,
Yeah, right down there.
oh yeah, right here. Okay. So, so you'd send an email to info@US for access,
Yeah.
and then let's just pick one of these. And then you can just put in your credentials here and get in. So if you wanted, so that's 2 possibilities for sites where you can mess up somebody else's data instead of your own live data, which is always a good thing.
So how are those sites different? You said bywatersolutions.com and then the Koha one you just demonstrated?
Yeah, so they're 2 completely different sites. So the gotcha with the Bywater site, which is here, is it refreshes automatically every so many hours. And I want to say 3. So, you can be working on something and then it will decide to refresh itself and it'll go back to its original data. So that, you want to do quicker, easier, shorter kinds of things that it won't kill you if, you don't have to spend 2 hours setting up the data and then have it all erased by this automatic thing. With the koha-US one, that's just a regular site. So what koha-US is, the reason that they have a demo site is to use at conferences or, both the koha-US conference for people to use to demonstrate things, or, to go to ALA or, a state library conference or anything like that, where they have, they're gonna, have a table or whatever, and they can demonstrate how Koha works to people that are walking by or whatever. So they're planning, the impetus or whatever was to get this ready by ALA, and they keep canceling ALA. So that keeps taking away our motivation to get that done. But so koha-US will have a table at ALA in the vendor area, and they'll have a computer set up there with this demonstration site so that people coming by can see Koha in action, and they can demonstrate some of the function and features. So that's what the koha-US one is about. Yeah, the Bywater one is more of just, go in, play around, mess with the data, and then it'll heal itself. You can't really screw anything up because in 3 hours or less, it'll all get refreshed back to what it was originally. So those are 2 different things that you can do. So I'm going to go with the Bywater one, because I have not yet asked for access to the koha-US one. So what we can do, and I better check because I think, well, let's not do it that way. Let's go into acquisitions, and then down here, manage order basket fields. So the Monday minutes was about what this does. So what you can do in here, oh, see, I had created some earlier today, and now they're refreshed. So what you can do is create fields in here, and you can give it, whatever name, but it's going to be connected to an authorized value category. So, you might want to keep it close to what the authorized value, help you know what the authorized value is that you're using. So I'm just going to say collection, and then I'm going to do C code. And then if you click this little box here, that will make it searchable. So you save that, and just for completeness, I'm going to create another one and say, I'm going to say location, and then put this authorized value in there and make it searchable as well. So now we've created 2 fields, additional fields for the acquisition basket. So now let's go to acquisitions. And I happen to know that they've got some vendor called ABC Publication in here. And we are going to create a new basket, and you can put in your March basket, and whether you can set all this stuff appropriately, but you'll see down here, there's these additional fields. So these fields are for the entire basket. So if you wanted to, I don't know, they probably don't make any sense together, but if you wanted to, to identify everything in this basket is on reserve, some audiovisual stuff that's on reserve, maybe it's for a specific project or a class or something like that, program. You can set those fields, and then you can do reports on this stuff because we've marked them searchable. So you can find all of the baskets that were purchased for this reserve collection, run reports and things like that. So we could save it, and there we have, we can see here that we've got collection is reserve and location is audio, can't say that word, audio visual. There we go. And then, yeah, you'd be able to do stuff from there. The other thing that they talked about, so does anybody do this? Set up these additional fields for baskets, or do you have some ideas that now you've seen it, you kind of go, oh, maybe we could, whatever?
I watched the Monday minutes, but I hadn't come up with any use yet or how we would use it. Have you?
Yeah, I haven't. I could see maybe where if you were at like a school or university or something, and you wanted to track, these are all for this particular grade or this particular department or something like that, that maybe, doesn't match up exactly with anything else that you've got. That might be useful, but yeah, I'm still trying to figure out something that where in a public library that would be helpful.
So just to confirm, Rhonda, again, because I didn't watch the Monday minutes. So when I order in a basket, usually on the item level, obviously the collection and location are populated. So you're saying this is just at the basket level now?
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So if you create a basket that's, for everything that's, for reserves or something like that, we just want that. So you could find out at the basket level what kind, everything that you purchased that was on a reserve for the reserve collection in this particular example. And then what you can do, Marci, did you have anything? I saw you turned your mic on.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out how it seemed like it was a manual process, that it's not something that would work with EDI. I first got excited because, like, if I do a patron suggestion order, I already can run reports that will kind of tell me what collection the items were added to, but it would be super convenient to have that populate in my basket, but I would want it to automatically pull the collection code from the EDI grid, from the item record that's created.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not inclined to manually do that for each
Yep.
item.
Yeah.
So I got unexcited after a moment of excitement.
Yeah, I had that same question too, because we do EDI for our main 3 vendors. And I wasn't sure how that would get set up. I had the same thought that, this sounds like it would need to be manually done. So maybe that's an enhancement that we can put, a bug in somebody's ear that,
Yeah, that would be great.
yeah, to do something like that. And then the other part was when you add something to a basket. So let's do this external source. What's a title of a book? And then you sit and wait. So then we talk about other things. No, okay, it's back. I think this one is the Liz Wiseman. So I'll pick this one and add that to the basket. And then, you go in and say it's nonfiction and it's going to be adult nonfiction and it's a book, whatever of those that you fill in when you order. And then down, pick, I guess it's book. And then you put a price in here, we'll say $20. And then down here, these 2 statistic fields. Oh, how did we do that? There's a way to hook these up. Connect these to authorized values as well. Shoot. Oh, okay. I remember now. You have to go to your budgets. And, oh, yuck. Okay, go to your budgets. You can edit your budget. Edit your budget. Okay, and that's all good, and save. And then we go to our funds. That's what I needed to do. So we go to our funds and oh dear. So Barbara, do you remember how to do this? They went to their funds.
I don't remember. How about when you try and edit a fund, is there something in there?
Ah, yes, there it is. Okay. So statistics done on, and then it shows you all of the authorized values that you've got set up for your particular system. So we're going to pick color, and we're going to pick, what's some other goofy one? Well, we'll just do not loan. And then submit that. So that funds for 2021, 22. Let me just double check this. Okay. So fund code 01. All right. So let's just go back. So the fund code 001. So if I go and order, where's my vendors? Where's my vendors? I guess I go, oh, I'm still in administration. That's part of my problem. So if I go to ABC and then go add to basket, and sorry, should have. All of a sudden, okay. And then we pick one and order it. Wow, duplicate warning. Okay. We're going to use the existing one. And I'm just going to set the book down here. And we're going to set our fund. Oh. Well, if you get to the right fund, these will be connected to the authorized values so that you can do at an item level. Again, not sure how it works with EDI, but if you're doing, adding things to a basket manually, you can no. Okay. Yeah, I guess I have to find the right, and since this isn't my system, I don't really know. I have to find the right combination of vendor and budget to make this work. But this is something, and again, you can do statistics on this. You could do, you could run reports against this. So if, I had color as statistic 1, and, you could pull everything that's all the items that are blue or all the items that have a red statistic 1 thing for whatever that means to you. It's just a way to, to put more information. I think in the Monday Minutes, they talked about, like if you have a really, really broad fund and you want to more finely see what's getting spent, like if you have a book fund, but you want to know, how much is going to board books and how much is going to easy readers and how much is going to YA, whatever, you could put in statistics 1, if those are your collection codes, you could put in statistic 1 collection code and be able to track it that way, to or create a whole new authorized value that would tell you what you want to know. So that's something that you can do with the statistics stuff down here. Any thoughts or questions? Or I know I did a terrible job of demonstrating. Probably the best thing to do is go to the Monday Minutes and watch them demonstrate it. But there's, 2 places, more of an item level. This is more of an item level thing with these statistic fields. And then the, what is it called up here? The order basket, the basket fields are basket level things that you can track information about your baskets. Maybe you have different branches, I don't know, that you order. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but so any thoughts or questions about that? What's the one thing that you wish Koha acquisitions had that it doesn't have right now?
I wish when you would browse a list of invoices or baskets that it would show the total in that browse list of the invoice or the basket. I mean, that's the main thing.
Okay,
That's
so
like
if you go
So if you
here,
just browse invoices and a date range by vendor, it'll show you the date and it'll show you the number of items, but it doesn't pull the invoice total, or if you're doing the same with baskets, it doesn't pull the basket total. And that drives me insane because that's like the main thing. If I'm trying to match up, did we get this invoice or have we already paid this invoice? I have to go into each record.
Right. Yep. I totally get what you're saying. I guess we have no invoices on the system, so, but we could go maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think there was, well, I think the vendors I didn't see any that had multiple baskets, but I know what you mean. That's a good one.
And
Anybody else?
probably a really simple fix because it would just be displaying data that's already there.
Yep. Yep. You should throw that into Bugzilla
I should.
and we'll all comment on it, how important it is.
Cool.
Because yeah, I think you're right. That might be an easy, somebody that's trying to get their feet wet in this, or, whatever, that might be an easy one for them to do as far as developments. And it would be very helpful. Anybody else have a wish list item?
I have one. I'm fairly new to this group and a little bit new to receiving in Koha. But I would love on when receiving to have it a little less cumbersome where I'm having to click received and then click in the boxes of the items I've received. It would be great for maybe just one page to be able to click, especially if everything is correct and prices are correct. And I don't see that they have that option at this point. I don't know if that would be
Yes.
helpful to anyone else if they feel like there's a lot of clicking involved in receiving each item, but it seems like that could be sped up a little bit.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. And I think there is a bug out there. Barbara, are you searching for it? I see you. Wow. Hang on. Because this would be a good one to comment on or whatever. Oh, hang on. I think.
I haven't come up with it yet. It's an old bug number.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been out there for a while, but I think it got some traction recently. Let's see, what was that? Ah, oh,
Is it
option
this
to receive.
one? 8179 is receiving multiple items at once.
I think that's it. Yeah, because it was
That's-
only 4 digits.
Yeah, it's a really old bug, and it did have something recently.
Oh, Lord. So Jenny, are you familiar with Bugzilla?
I am. Yeah, I'm going to
Okay.
have to take a look at that one to see if that is a match.
Yeah, 8179.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Yeah, and it looks like it failed QA. So that means at least there's a fix out there.
Uh-huh.
change it. Okay, it looks like they've got a little problem going on there. But yeah, what you're saying, let's see if we can find the origination date. 2012 reported.
Oh, wow. That's
So-
been around a while then.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely, put your 2 cents in there, vote for it. What else can you do? You can put comments in. Comments are really helpful. This would be, I think I have even, yeah, I put one in. Yeah, just it's a good thing. Oh, this is the one that we were going to try and sign off in our acquisition group, and then all the wheels fell off and terrible things happened. But yeah, that's definitely something that a lot of libraries would find wonderful. So if we can get it through QA, we can get it in the next release or so. Sorry, swallowed wrong. Okay. Any other wish list item? If not, I will stop sharing my screen. And then we can wrap this one up. So everybody have a great March, and we will see you in April. Yeah, losing my voice. And yeah, we'll next meeting will be sorry. It will be the 3rd Tuesday in March. So that is the 19th, the 3rd Tuesday in April. So that will be April 19 is the next meeting that we're scheduled. So see everybody then, if not talk before, and have a good week.
Bye, thank y'all.
Bye, thank you.
Bye. And you can